Grand Rising, Grand Rising, Grand Rising. So, I am supposed to talk to you about the meaning of your spiritual house. Because I just started talking about it, but I wasn't still talking about the purpose of it along your spiritual road, your journey. And if you've been listening closely, if you've been listening in order, there is something that is happening. I've set some things in place, and if you've been paying attention, you'll understand what I've been creating. The purpose of your spiritual house along your spiritual road is that it gives you a place when you're going and you feel like I just need a moment to rest. I'm starting to feel like I'm carrying a lot, like I'm starting to veer off a little bit. Like I just need to rest for a minute. You're not sitting on the bench. See what it is now? You have this spiritual house. That's this place of protection where you're still learning while you're in a moment of rest. There's a difference between having moments where you're stopping and sitting on the bench because the road has just beat you up and you're just crawling and you just need to stop. But see, with your spiritual house, if you've paid attention and you've done things right within yourself, no matter whenever you start to feel like you're heavy and down, your spiritual house, see, these are your ancestors walking with you, and whenever you start to feel tired and weary, what's going to happen is that wherever you are, they are going to build you a shelter so that you can go there and you can rejuvenate yourself. That's why when I said when you go into your spiritual house, turn the light on. Because what you're doing is rejuvenating yourself. When you go into your spiritual kitchen, that recipe book. See, I'm not telling you anything that I haven't experienced in my own way, shape, form, or fashion. But for some reason, this is how Spirit is wanting me to give it to you. Because Spirit says I'm building something. I just dropped something right there. I'm building something. Because if you've been paying attention to what I've been saying, you're building something too. And what you're building is your own thing. And what I'm building is mine. And in me building my own thing, this is where we are, because our paths have crossed. That is why you are here. Ashe, baby. Ashe. Your spiritual house that your ancestors have built for you. It's rejuvenation. When you sit down in there and you rest, you're not sitting on a bench, you're sitting on a comfortable piece of furniture. Or sometimes you may just be standing there because you may not have any furniture in your spiritual house. You may have come to a turn in the road and you're not really too sure what to do, but you've got a little bit of knowledge and you want to sit and you want to absorb and let that knowledge seep into you. Ask the universe, what does it mean? And see what the universe tells you about the knowledge that you're obtaining. See, when you're in your spiritual house, you have the chance to do that without feeling like you're just putting it in your pocket and carrying it along the way. Because what happens is if you're along your spiritual journey and you fall to your knees and you keep crawling and you keep going and you keep crawling and you keep going and you're so weary, you're not even seeing where you're crawling. You're also not paying attention to the things that are falling out of your pocket. You may have lost your water. You didn't know because you were crawling. I feel you, Spirit. So when you get to go into your spiritual house, one thing that's always going to be guaranteed is that you're going to be provided for. One thing that's also be guaranteed is when you're in there, something is going to happen. Your spiritual house may have came and you may not have known it was there, but you go inside wanting to know why the ancestors are there. Why is your spiritual house lit up right here? You weren't expecting to see it. You were moving good, and then all of a sudden, when you get into your spiritual house, you've realized that it's a thunderstorm outside and it's hailing. It's hailing. There's a thunderstorm, and your spiritual house came at the right time because it knew that there was something. There was something coming that was going to slow you down. But while you're in this house, while you're being protected, you've got some growing to do. And that's the purpose. Along this journey, I've talked about growing up the sheer of the side of a mountain on the ladder. And when you get to a certain point, you're walking around. These are the roads. These are the carvings that you made and that you're making, have made, and are going to make in the mountainside. But you have got to get there. What are you building? What are you building? What are you cooking up? In your spiritual house, can things go wrong? Yeah, things can go wrong. It is still a house, but see, things go wrong because if you just think that you're going to stand in your spiritual house and not do anything, that's when you start getting things like a leak in the roof. And you don't want a leak in the roof in your house, right? You don't want to get wet while you're standing there. The purpose of your spiritual house, because as you're along your journey, you're going to get knowledge and information. That's how you keep moving forward. But in your spiritual house, that allows you time to be able to do your shadow work. That allows you time to take this knowledge that you've learned and absorb it and grow and feed yourself. Feed yourself. Because in every single time you have the recipe book, there's always blank pages where you can write the recipe that you just learned. But see, what's fun is every time you leave the house and close the book, you leave the room and close the book, what Spirit is doing is it's looking at the recipe that you wrote down, and what it's doing is it's tweaking that recipe just a little bit, or maybe it's taking the recipe out of the book at all because that recipe ain't good. Just because you've learned how to make a dish doesn't mean that the dish is delicious. Doesn't mean that the dish will be enjoyed. Doesn't mean that the dish is even pleasant to look at. Is the dish even edible? That house is there to feed you, and you are there to feed that house. You are feeding your ancestors. You are feeding your spirit. You are feeding the universe so the universe can keep feeding you back. These are the deposits that you make. You can go into your spiritual house and take all of this knowledge, which is money, which is currency. Please pick up what I'm putting down. You can put all this on the table, and it's all money, it's all currency, all this knowledge. And what's going to happen is when you walk out the door and leave that house, it's gone into the spiritual bank. Spirit is taking all that. Spirit is looking at the recipes. Spirit is looking what you're doing, because you're going to come into that house, and if you're walking along your journey right, you're not going to come into that house pristine, baby. You're going to walk into that house looking a little bit fucked up. And it's okay. You may be bloody. You know what I'm saying? You may be holding your arm, it's but you're not going to be pristine. But when you walk out of there, that's different. And when you walk out of there and you step foot back on that road, that house, if you've done what needed to be done in that house, your ancestors will be back with you, and they will be moving with you. That house won't be there. It'll just be a space where that house was. A beautiful garden space to let you know that you've grown here. Thank you, Spirit. To let you know that you've grown here. You've done something here. You've built a garden here. You've cultivated something. You've planted a seed. You've planted a seed, and it's being watered and it's growing. Thank you, Spirit. Everything is for a purpose. Because remember, you're always building something. You're always doing something. You're always doing something that's going to impact something later on. Later on in the now, later on in the tomorrow. There's layers to this. And I know not everybody is going to understand what I'm saying, but if you're chosen and you do what you need to do, and you're tapping in like you need to be tapping in into this change, into this atmosphere that's happening in the universe, and you're talking to yourself, and you're sitting with your shadow self, and you're telling that shadow self, that self that's holding you back and making you drag your feet along this road, that we ain't dragging shit around here. And you get on, you'll start to understand what I'm saying. You'll listen to what I'm saying, and you'll see that you're building something. Remember the forest, the city. Oh, sit with me, Spirit. The road that you're on is leading somewhere. And in the city, roads intersect and cross, and I promise you, they all lead somewhere. Someone has traveled, someone may have is building said road. That is how our paths have crossed. Because I am building something as well, baby, and what I am building, very few move along that road that you're supposed to be on. Because what is for you can't even be described. I'm tapping in. I give thanks, family. Enjoy this beautiful day. It's raining right now in Las Vegas, but I tell you what, the sun is shining. You can't tell me no different, baby. Ashe. Ashe, ashe. Thank you for liking, subscribing. The ancestors are keeping the lights on in your house. Thank you. The ancestors are keeping the lights on. That's why you see it. In all the darkness, when you feel like you're coming down the road, that's how you know that it's time for you to be at your spiritual house, because the ancestors got the light on for you. Oh. Ashe. Enjoy yourself today, family. I love you. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Thank you. Cook up something good, baby, because it's going with you on that journey. Peace.